So, we make it 53 miles across Manipul's National Park in 5 days. And on this expedition, we had 2 other couples with us and 2 guides. And most of the time, during our 53-mile hike, we were hiking along the river. And we had seen huge Nile crocodiles like this along the shore, and we knew there had to be bigger ones in the water. Also, we knew that once we got into canoes, we were going to pass approximately 1,500 hippos on our 3-day canoe trip down the river. And Deb and I and the 2 other couples, we were nervous about this portion of the trip. And our main guide, sensing it, sat us down and he said, "Listen, I've been taking people down the Zambezi River for 16 years. And during that time, I've never had a client attacked by an animal. Sit back, relax. You will be surprised how safe and easy this trip is." So we got into canoes, 5 canoes in all, and we headed down the Zambezi River. We weren't on the river 45 minutes, and we came across this barricade of hippos. And the hippos, they're snorting and they're roaring, and I'm wondering, how are we going to get past these hippos? But as we get closer, the hippos sank underneath the water, and Deb and I and everybody else, we canoe over them with our hearts just pounding. And I think our guide misled us a little bit. We had some close encounters with hippos, like this one here, and this one here. And then we had the ultimate close encounter. Yes, this is my wife Deb and I after we were attacked by a hippo. I'm going to set this up for you. We had now been on the river for 3 hours. And Deb's in the front seat, I'm in the back seat, my dry bag and backpack are in the middle. And the rule with canoeing with hippos is you always want to be in deep water. That's where it's safest. But the interesting thing about the Zambezi River is the water changes. You can be out in the middle and you can hit ground. You can be along shore and it can be very deep. And on this portion of the river, it was deep along shore. And we're canoeing single file. And Deb and I are in the second to the last canoe. And if you look out there, you don't see any hippos. And it was a beautiful day. So for the first time, we are relaxed. And Deb and I are lagging back a little bit, just enjoying this beautiful day. And we feel this bump. And we're both thinking, well, maybe we hit a rock. Next thing you know, we're 6 feet up in the air. The hippo had come underneath us. Its lower tusk went right through the bottom of the canoe. Its top jaw came over and snapped the gunwale. If you can imagine a front-end loader lifting gravel and then dumping it on shore, that's what the hippo did to us. And I can still see it in my mind in slow motion. We go up into the air, and I fly out of the canoe first. And then Deb flies out of the canoe, and she hits the ground with this eerie thud. And I'm thinking, oh my God, she's dead. And I run up to her, Deb, are you okay? Are you okay? She gets up, and then we remember the hippo, and we wheel toward the water, and the hippo drops the canoe and melts back into the river. And then Deb and I look at each other, and we realize, hey, we're okay. And we break into hysterical laughter, because how often does someone get a chance to be attacked by a hippo and live through it? In fact, at the time this photo was taken, I have tears streaming down my cheeks. I'm laughing so hard about what had just happened. However, for the other 2 couples, the hippo had confirmed their worst fears. And once they got up on shore, they came running to us and they said, we're done. We're hiking out of here. However, we weren't set up for that. It was going to be dark soon. They were waiting for us at camp. We really needed to get back in and continue the canoe trip. And it took us maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and we finally convinced the other 2 couples we had to get back in the water. Now, obviously, Deb's in my canoe. It wasn't going anywhere, so we ended up having to double up. That meant Deb was in the middle of one of the canoes. Somebody else got in the middle of one of the other canoes. And I can see it clear as day in my head as we push back out onto the water. The other 2 couples, they are literally physically shaking with fear about having to face the hippos again. Deb and I, we are still laughing. And when I see Deb in the middle of the canoe, I yell to her, Deb, you're sitting in the death seat. And our guide goes, shh. because I'm making things so much worse for the other two couples. And I feel bad about that now. It sounds like I'm bragging, like I'm this big, brave outdoorsman, but you need to understand what happened. We didn't see the hippo coming. We didn't have a chance to get nervous. We were up in the air and thrown on the ground, and as soon as we hit the ground, we were hit with this shot of adrenaline. We were so high on adrenaline, we were slap happy. But later on that night, once we made it to camp and the adrenaline wore off, we're sitting around the fire, we were just as nervous as the other two couples because we had 2 more days of having to face the hippos. And this is what bit us. Those are the lower tusks that went through the bottom of the canoe. And remember, the hippo snapped the gunwale. And we were in a big, heavy-duty Canadian canoe, but even so, our canoe had to fit inside the mouth of that hippo. And you would think, after being attacked by a hippo and nearly killed, that I wouldn't like hippos. But I love hippos. I mean, they're goofy looking, and they've got this laugh that goes, ha, ha, ha. And they just make me smile. And, it was only doing what came natural.